What's the most bizarre coincidence that has ever happened to you? I remember that day like it was yesterday, a crisp afternoon in early spring when I decided to take a leisurely stroll through the park near my apartment. The air was fresh, tinged with the scent of blooming flowers and newly mown grass. It was supposed to be a routine walk, a chance to clear my mind after a long day at work. Little did I know, it would turn into one of the most bizarre coincidences of my life. As I meandered along the winding paths, enjoying the tranquility of the park, I suddenly heard a plaintive cry, a dog's whimper, faint yet unmistakable. Instinctively, I followed the sound, my curiosity piqued. There, under the shade of a sprawling oak tree, I spotted a small, shaggy dog. Its fur was matted and it was limping slightly, clearly in distress. My heart went out to the poor creature. Approaching cautiously, I noticed something unusual, a collar around its neck, indicating it belonged to someone. This wasn't a stray. It had an owner somewhere. Worried sick, no doubt. Without hesitation, I scooped the dog gently into my arms and hurried to the nearest veterinary clinic. The receptionist took one look at the injured pup and ushered us into an examination room. As the vet tended to its wounds, I couldn't shake off the feeling of responsibility. This dog had a home, and I was determined to reunite it with its owner. After what seemed like an eternity of anxious waiting, the vet emerged with good news. The dog would recover thanks to timely medical attention. Relieved yet still concerned, I made a decision. I would return to the spot where I found the dog, hoping against hope that its owner would come searching. Sure enough, later that afternoon, as I lingered near the oak tree, a stranger approached. He had a worried look on his face, scanning the area frantically. I approached him cautiously, holding my breath. "Are you looking for a dog?" I ventured, hoping I wasn't making a mistake. The stranger's eyes lit up with a mix of relief and surprise. Yes. Have you seen a small, scruffy dog around here?" I nodded, cautiously optimistic. "I found a dog matching that description earlier. It's at the vet now, but I can take you there if you'd like." The stranger hesitated, then nodded gratefully. "Please, I need to see him. Can you take me there?" We walked in silence to the veterinary clinic, my heart pounding with anticipation. When we arrived, the stranger's anxiety was palpable. He approached the receptionist, explaining his situation frantically. "I'm here for the dog," he pleaded, his voice tinged with desperation. The receptionist looked at me questioningly, and I nodded, silently urging her to allow him in. Moments later, the vet emerged with the dog, now cleaned up and looking much better. The stranger's eyes filled with tears of relief as he scooped the dog into his arms. "I can't thank you enough," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "I'm just a friend of the owner, but she'll be so grateful you found him." I smiled weakly, overwhelmed by the whirlwind of events. "I'm glad I could help," I managed to say. As the stranger showed me a photo on his phone confirming the dog's identity, I felt a surge of satisfaction. 2 weeks had passed since the incident with the dog, and life seemed to settle back into its usual rhythm. I went about my days, balancing work and personal commitments, yet the memory of that fateful day lingered in the back of my mind, a reminder of how quickly life could change with a simple act of kindness. It was a particularly challenging afternoon. I had just returned home from yet another job interview, feeling dejected after receiving yet another rejection email. As I trudged up the steps to my apartment building, lost in my thoughts, a sharp cry for help pierced through the haze of disappointment. Startled, I turned around to see a young woman, a bit familiar yet unfamiliar, running towards me, her brown hair tousled and her expression frantic. "Help! Someone stole my bag!" she exclaimed, her voice trembling with urgency. Instinct kicked in as I quickly assessed the situation. Without a second thought, I sprinted after her as she pointed towards a figure disappearing into the distance, clutching a bag that undoubtedly belonged to her. Adrenaline fueled my pursuit, my heart pounding with determination. We chased the thief through crowded streets and narrow alleys, the cityscape blurring around us. The woman, whose name I would later learn was Emily, kept pace with me, her determination matching mine stride for stride. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we cornered the thief in a deserted alleyway. He turned to face us, his eyes wide with surprise and guilt. Without hesitation, Emily confronted him, demanding the return of her bag. "I didn't take anything," the thief protested, his voice shaky. But Emily was adamant, her eyes blazing with a mixture of anger and relief. "I saw you take it," she insisted, her voice unwavering. "Give it back now." The thief hesitated for a moment, then reluctantly handed over the bag. As Emily checked its contents, a wallet, keys, and a few personal items, I couldn't help but admire her courage and determination in the face of adversity. "Thank you," Emily said breathlessly, turning to me with a grateful smile. "I don't know what I would have done without your help." I shrugged awkwardly, feeling a surge of pride mixed with humility. "I'm just glad I could assist," I replied modestly. Emily suddenly paused, her brow furrowing in concentration. "Wait a minute," she said slowly, her gaze fixed on me. Did you happen to study at St. Edward's University? I was taken aback, surprised by her question. Yes, I did, I replied cautiously, curiosity tinged with uncertainty. But how did you know that? Emily's eyes widened with realization, a smile tugging at the corners of her lips. I thought so. I remember seeing you around campus a few years ago, she explained, her voice filled with excitement. I never forget a face, especially one that's connected to a memorable moment. Suddenly, it clicked in my mind. Emily was the owner of the dog I had found and reunited with its friend just 2 weeks ago. What a coincidence. However, the question as to how Emily knew in which university I had studied still lingered in my mind. Before I could say anything more, my phone buzzed insistently. A call from my landlord, indicating an emergency that required my immediate attention. I glanced apologetically at Emily, regret coloring my expression. I'm so sorry, I said hastily, rising from my seat. I have to take this. It's an emergency. Emily nodded understandingly, her smile warm and reassuring. Of course, go ahead. We can catch up another time. With a final wave, I hurried out of the cafe. As weeks passed by, the memory of my encounter with Emily at the cafe remained fresh in my mind, a reminder of the unpredictable nature of life's twists and turns. It was a crisp morning when I found myself standing nervously outside the sleek, modern headquarters of one of the city's rising tech companies. I had landed an interview, an opportunity that could potentially change the course of my career. Yet, as I stepped into the bustling lobby filled with ambitious professionals, my nerves heightened. Amidst the sea of faces, one caught my attention. A familiar yet unfamiliar figure that seemed to blend into the backdrop of the busy scene. For a fleeting moment, I thought I recognized her from somewhere, but the tension of the interview ahead pushed the thought to the back of my mind. I was ushered into a sleek conference room for the interview, my heart racing with anticipation. As I settled into my seat, preparing myself mentally for the questions to come, the door swung open and in walked Emily. My jaw nearly dropped in disbelief. Was this another twist of fate? Could Emily be the HR manager conducting my interview? The thought raced through my mind, mingling with a sense of surrealism. Hello? Emily greeted warmly, her eyes twinkling with recognition. It's good to see you again. I managed a shaky smile, trying to compose myself. Likewise, I replied, my mind racing to grasp the situation. I didn't realize you were part of the interview process. Emily chuckled softly, taking her seat at the head of the table. Actually, I'm not just part of it, she explained with a smile that hinted at a deeper meaning. I'm the CEO of this company. My eyes widened in astonishment. CEO? It felt like a plot twist in a movie, yet here I was, face to face with Emily, in a professional setting that surpassed all expectations. Despite my initial surprise, Emily's presence brought a sense of calmness and familiarity. Throughout the interview, she asked insightful questions, probing into my skills and experiences with genuine interest. Her warmth and friendliness put me at ease, allowing me to showcase my strengths and abilities with confidence. As the interview drew to a close, Emily smiled encouragingly. Thank you for coming in today, she said sincerely. We'll be in touch soon. Days turned into weeks, and the anticipation of hearing back from the tech company weighed heavily on my mind. Every email notification sent my heart racing, hoping for good news. And then, one fateful morning, the email I had been waiting for finally arrived, an offer letter from the company, welcoming me to their team. I couldn't believe it. I had landed the job, thanks in no small part to Emily's guidance and encouragement during the interview. With a mix of excitement and gratitude, I eagerly prepared for my first day, nerves tingling with the prospect of embarking on a new chapter of my career. On my first day, as I nervously navigated through the bustling office, Emily appeared at my side with a warm smile. Welcome aboard, she greeted, her voice filled with genuine enthusiasm. Let me show you around. As she guided me through the sleek, modern office space, introducing me to colleagues and explaining the company's innovative projects, I couldn't help but marvel at her journey. From university dropout to CEO of a successful tech company. A small smile played on Emily's lips. There was a moment, she continued, her voice tinged with emotion, when I was struggling with a decision, to continue my studies or take a leap of faith and start my own company. I was torn, unsure of which path to choose. You were there for me, she said softly. You listened. You encouraged me to follow my dreams, even when I was on the verge of giving up. I was stunned into silence. Did I? As I tried hard to remember it, I finally recalled that I had indeed encouraged a girl when I had found her crying in the canteen of our university. I had no idea, I stammered, at a loss for words. I'm glad I could help, even if I didn't realize it at the time. You made a difference, more than you know, Emily said sincerely. And now, here we are, brought together again by fate. Indeed. Other than calling it a coincidence, I couldn't say more. Coincidences could be truly scary sometimes.